Hello folks, my name is Markus Sinerva and I'm a real live helicopter pilot in Finnhems 5-1 base in Finland. It's located in Rovaniemi in northern Finland. And this video is about this kind of checklist I have made. Just a second. So this is what the checklist looks like if you print it with your printer or download PDF. All the different stages of the flight are separated in separate boxes and with different kind of color codings. And I will show you the helicopter if you don't already know it. I have Finnhems livery, which is made by Dennis Pfeiffer, which is really awesome. And this helicopter is with action pack, HEMS action pack, and you can purchase it from HPG website if you wish. This is really awesome. But I think that most of you who are viewing this video already know this helicopter, but just want to know how do you make the startup and everything according to this checklist. I have actually made this checklist and shared it in few different channels, and I will put the link underneath this video in YouTube where you can download it, and it will come as one A4 paper, and you can fold it in half and, for example, put inside of cover if you wish. But hey, first some kind of tiny disclaimer here. This tutorial video and this checklist is only for simulator use, not for real life piloting and aircraft use. Everything I do here doesn't be necessarily just like we would do in a real life with a real helicopter, so don't believe anything I say. You can question everything I say. I might say something wrong and make mistakes while operating this OBS and flying and reading the checklist and speaking language which is not my native language, so that's about it. First of all, I want to show you this EFB Connect application. You can download it from HPG website, I think, and after that you will get this kind of window here, and whatever you put inside this window, some kind of field document or website or anything, you can find it from your aircraft. So you can find it from here, EFB Connect. And of course I have put my checklist to this display to be able to show you it like this. Okay, hey. Let's just hit the checklist, which is called normal checklist, but it contains everything from startup to before takeoff to hover, check after takeoff, cruise, IFR, and approach IFR, before landing checklist and after landing checklist. And as said, this is for simulator use, and it's quite accurate when it comes to details, so you don't have to guess anything what is stated here in the checklist. Everything should be easy to find after you have watched this video tutorial. Okie dokie. Hey, what I still have to show you is the location. There is one Finnish gentleman who has made us this Kuopio Finnhems base. This is not yet in a public it's not available yet, but it will be from the flightsim.to, and as you can see, this is really accurate. It has been made out of real photos from this base. As you can see, I try to do something and speak. I start laggish immediately. So this is really cool. You have everything here, Finham's labels, and even those texts here are like in the real world. This is really awesome. And one nice detail, we have one pilot in Kuopio base who has Tesla, and of course Tesla has to be here. It was first wrong way here, parked like the front side of the car towards the lake, but he immediately said that it should be parked other way to be able to recharge it. So now it's fixed. But hey, this is really cool base, and I will tell you whenever it's available. This is Kuopio, and Kelloniemi base. Okay, back to the helicopter. Let's start reading the checklist. First things first, startup. Battery master switch. So in real life, immediately when we put the helicopter come out from the hangar by a self-driving platform, we put the battery master switch on. Here, battery master switch on, check anti-collision light on. Okay, anti-collision light is here. It's by default in our real helicopter, it's always on, but in this simulator it's off. Battery master switch, there you can see engage and on. So you should put it to engage and then to on. There you go. And the system starts to do self-check. Power up test is there. Okay, check anti-collision light on, engage on, master list, which is this one down here. There you should read power up test OK, and now it's OK. VMS display, numbers, weight, validate previous. This is VMS, vehicle monitoring system. As you can see, when you press some other display, you can get this VMS, vehicle monitoring system page. And it was numbers, weight, validate previous. Press numbers so that you will get the number values here. And weight, we don't have payload, but we have crew. And you press here and then scroll. I will make it 500, well, 655. And then check the total. It shouldn't go over 3,700 kilograms or it will be overweight. Validate. I already filled the fuel tanks to the maximum. You can use either Shift F or then going here to the aircraft crew and payload and press full from here. Okay. Back to the EFB Connect. Okay, it was numbers, weight, validate, previous. We did validate and press previous. Then, after VMS display, cyclic, collective, centered, locked. Cyclic is centered, collective is locked. And you can see the cyclic center is centered from this mast moment indicator here. And next, prime pumps on. We can find the prime pumps. Oh, sorry. Do you see the checklist? Because I had this small window which is showing me at the computer. Yeah, I have to be careful that you see it. Okay, prime pumps on. We can find prime pumps from here. Yep. And what I want to do is adjust the time so that we get more light into the helicopter. Okie dokie. Prime pumps are on. DC voltage check minimum 23.5, 25.1, so we're good to go. Engine 1 and 2 main switches. Check surroundings before startup. Set idle startup test. Okay. I have 2 dots there. Okay, I haven't noticed. It's an error. Okay. So we have 1st of December. I will start the engine number 1, which is the left engine. And first I will check the surroundings. Clear left and clear right. There was some guy walking here a while ago, but I think he went. Okay, battery discharging because I'm multitasking. Okay. So I pressed from here to get the stopwatch visible, and then I press here to get it run, and then starting number 1. So we'll put it to idle. N1 rising. TOT rising. Torque rising. And what did the checklist say? Set idle, startup test. Okay, so we have to wait that it's idle. Now it's idle, and we can start the second engine. Starting number 2. Number 2 on idle. Starter on. N1 rising. TOT rising. Torque rising. Startup test is already okay. In a real helicopter it's okay after we have 2 engines on idle. At least this is what I remember. Let's put the lights to night position so we can get a little bit dimmed displays here. Okay, both engines on idle. Startup test was okay. And you can always scroll this master list from here if there is more than the visible items. Okay, overhead panel. Avionics switch 1 and 2, which you can find from here, 1 and 2. And then standby battery switch on. Standby battery switch is here. And then DC reception switch. This one gives the DC current for the backseat guys and the devices that they use. It's not necessary in this simulator, but in real life we use it. Okay, pitot heating 1 and 2 switches on. You can find it from here. Pitot static heating on and on. Prime pumps off, transfer pumps on. Prime pumps off, transfer pumps on. And then external lights as required and heating ventilation as required. Let's put landing light, strobe, position light on, and then heating. First, bleed heating, we take some hot air from the turbine inside the helicopter and maybe some ventilation, and then press this one in, so we will get heat inside the helicopter. Okay, overhead panel section has been done. Avionics switches on, standby battery on, DC reception switch as required. pitot heating 1 and 2 switches on, prime pumps off, transfer pumps on, external lights as required, heating, ventilation as required. And if we would continue for IFR flight, I would make a pre-flight test. I can show you actually how it is made. So pre-flight test switch, you can find it from here. Okay. I have to be careful that I don't press the buttons when I scroll in and out. Here you can see pre-flight test, and let's hit it on and then put the system page on, and the helicopter makes pre-flight test. Here the lowest most green text, and it should appear okay when it's done. Pre-flight test okay. In a real life it tests all of these systems and gives us indication if everything is okay. WXR means weather radar, and everything that is green is either malfunctioning or not switched on. Okay, avionics for the IFR flight, which would mean that we would make some flight plans here and use the procedures, IFR procedures, but I wouldn't talk any more about this. And then we'll scroll to before takeoff part of this list. And I hope that you will see good enough from the screen, but please download your own list and print it, so this will be more easier, or use it from the iPad or some other display. Before takeoff checklist, 8 stuffs MFD4, check obstacles and set range. 8 stuffs high terrain avoidance warning system in MFD4, which is this display. Let's put it to first VMS and previous. This is the normal VMS display here. And this stage I have to check that my microphone is on. It seems to be on, good. And yes, we'll put the nav display, and I like to put the map display to this dark, like we use it in real life, and then the sector 8 stuffs on, and after that we can see all the obstacles which are near to our altitude or at our altitude, like that. And let's put the weather radar on from here, standby and on. Now it's on. We don't usually use it unless we have some heavier rains nearby us. So I will check that there is no obstacles in real life. We can see all the masts and bigger obstacles from this display, but in this helicopter simulator you are not able to see those. So 8 stuffs is checked, and then we'll check MFD4, set and checked, briefing and box, DADH. So we have to make briefing what we are going to do in real life every time we leave from some spot, either from base or airfield or hostile environment, some field or farm, whatever. We have to make a briefing so that the other pilot or the crew members know what we are doing, and we have gone through our plan for that flight. DA, which means this is altitude, and DH, decision height. Now we are using decision height, which uses the radio altimeter height from the surface below us, and when it's like that, white colored, I can choose 100 at a time from this bigger ring and 10 feet per click from this smaller. So I will make 200, which we use in Finland as a decision point, decision height in most of the cases. And it was briefing and DH box. Let's make the briefing. We have this FATO landing and takeoff area in all of the bases, and we use procedures to take off and land, and it would be a long story to tell all about it, but every time we leave from base or arrive to our base, we have to use PC1 category takeoff and landing, which I will tell you later. But we will make PC1 RTOL revert takeoff and landing procedure from this FATO to heading 164, which is the real heading in here, Kuopio Kelloniemen base, and the wind sock tells that the wind is from pretty accurately from that position. Otherwise, if we would have wind from some other direction from behind us, we would make the takeoff to other direction. Okay, and if we get emergency situation before the decision height, which is this 200 feet, I'm going to land to same spot where we left. And if we get emergency situation like one engine in operative after decision height, which is decision point and TDP, we will continue the flight with certain procedure. Okay, not more about this. You will find the more accurate explanations for this PC1 stuff from my other videos. And at this stage, if you like these videos and you want to know more about helicopter pilot stuff and some kind of tutorials for simulator helicopter piloting, please follow and like, so I will get more subscriptions, and my big hope is that someday I will get the 10,000 followers done. Awesome. A small disclaimer. Okay, before takeoff checklist. Number 2, briefing and box. DH done and briefing performed. Engine 1, engine main switches. Flight and guarded. And we check that the RPM and R goes to 101, which is stated here. Flight guarded NR 101. Warnings: master list. We have autopilot backup sus and Laukas fail. For some reason, every now and then it's on, and now it was off. This is the anti-vibration system that makes our flying a little bit more smooth. And then autopilot, we will hit them on like that, and as you can see, the warnings, this was the warning panel here, and the master list are checked. Then again, I have to remember that you can't see the checklist unless I do like this. Engine 1, engine main switches, flight guided 101. Warnings and master list checked. No warnings, cautions, instruments, cross check between MFDs and IESI. So we will check. First of all, I pressed B to get the pressure. Yes, correct pressure. 1034 hectopascals, and the altitude shows us like reasonable values. And check that we have all the same values here and also in here between the MFD1 and 2 and the ESC, which is this standby system here. Okay, cross check done. Altimeters QNH reading, and there you can see in Microsoft Flight Simulator, press B to get them properly set. So we have same pressure reading here and also here. If you have to choose change it manually, you just press the arrow and then start scrolling from here like that. And it's very important that these are in same level, especially in IFR flights. What happened before takeoff checklist? There. Yep. Altimeters QNH was set. Readings are fine. Autopilots are on. As you can see from here, backup autopilot 1 and 2 are on. And then next stage is hover check. Now we have to do some memorized items because we are not able to look so carefully to this checklist. When we are at hover, I will check the warnings and master list, which is warnings were here, master list was here, and check that there is no warnings and cautions. And then FLI, first limit indicator, we have to check that the power setup values are good here, that we are not flying with too hard power setup. Okay, and we have some reserve power to use during the takeoff. And after takeoff checklist, we will check after we are airborne. Okie dokie. And then I will put the map visible here and do some adjustment, maybe one click out and flight plan here, and this message blinks that we don't have departure or arrival airport, but we don't need them now. Okay, all systems green, and checking left and checking right, and now we know what to do when we take off. Yep. And lifting. Hover check, no warnings, master is checked. Turning left and moving left towards the FATO. Here is our ground crew member. And in the real life, this Kuopio base is located inside Kuopio Airport control zone. So we would contact the tower and ask clearance, like permission to take off to this airspace. Okay, the direction was 164 and we're good to go, and this is what means RTOL or VTOL takeoff. We start climbing and flying backwards so that we can keep the H letter, the FATO, approximately inside this small window, and we should go about 300 feet per minute, which you can see from this variometer. checking that we are not taking too much power from the FLI. 120 feet. $150. And we are soon approaching to the TDP, takeoff decision point, which was 200. TDP, flying nose down without losing altitude. Checking the power from the FLI. VTOL speed 45 knots. All the time climbing to the safe altitude. And VY speed. Now we can level off here. And I have this one button here where I can press and the helicopter shoot. This simulator doesn't always work as I would like to. Altitude heading, indicated airspeed. There we go. Okay. So I pressed this one button here in my joystick, which couples altitude, heading and indicated airspeed mode on. Indicated airspeed is now 80. I will put it to VY because we are not going very far. Heading is here, and indicated, altitude is 700 feet ish. I will make it 800 feet, and this autopilot does this with this helicopter, sometimes low RPM. And you can also switch them on from here. The autopilot control panel, indicated airspeed, altitude and heading. So just press them and then you can scroll them to make adjustment. And I have assigned these switches to my joystick, and the throttle control, which is the collective control. I can beep the heading like this, and it will work like in a real helicopter. And also the altitude I can choose from here. Okay, let's check the checklist. After takeoff, instruments including DADH. In the night time we'd have to put the DH to 600 feet and IFR flights to 1000, but now at the daytime it's at 200 feet. So DH is checked, and instruments VY speed nose to decrease up and about 800 feet, and cross check from the other devices checked. Okay, instruments including DADH checked, external lights as required. I'm keeping the landing lights and everything else on. OAT, outside air temperature. Let's check the surroundings that we won't collide anything. OAT 21 degrees. Wow, it's summer. In real life here in Finland now it's minus centigrades and winter. Yes, then after takeoff checklist is done, and let's skip this cruise IFR checklist and go to sorry, I want to show the same for you that I'm doing here in this auto display, like that. Oh, it's too near. No, it's good. Yep. Alright. Checking the surroundings. We are going quite far from the base, which is here. This is the Puyo tower, watchtower, and let's start turning right using the beep trim, and then I'll continue the checklist. And I could take us more altitude, let's say 1200 feet. We are in city area anyway. And then start turning to right. There we go. And then approach IFR. If we would be in IFR flight at this stage, we would check the minimum weather for the planned landing site and check the approach briefing, IFR route, star procedures, anything, and set up the FMS, which is this this navigator here. Let's check the surroundings that we won't hit anything. Okay. It's scrolling the page. Yes, before landing, 8 stuffs MFD for obstacles range. So we will check that we have this 8 stuffs display here in proper range. It's quite good. Usually we keep it around 2 miles scale when approaching. And then briefing and box. We will make the same kind of RTOL landing, but with nose moving forward, and our decision height will be 200, so the same setting which is now here all the time. And altimeters, QNH and reading. We have 1034 hectopascals in all of the devices, and the altitude 1200 feet. And then instruments, we don't have to do anything else than just check that everything is looking good, and we have same values in different displays. And warnings and master list. We don't have warnings here, we don't have anything in our master list, and we in real life we would check this message here, which is in here, but in this simulator it's just complaining about the departure and arrival airports missing. Warnings and master list was checked. External lights as required. Well, we have it on. Next stage is after landing, so now we will just find the landing the base for us. I went a little bit too far from what I was planning, but I have to talk and explain you these small details, so it takes some time. Okay, I think that the Kelloniemi is there. It should be there in this peninsula here. I have landed there 2 times in real life, so I approximately know what should it look like. And we are using good VY speed, not too fast, and good altitude for starting the approach and landing. And when I am more near to the base or the final, I will decouple all the autopilots and start flying by hand. And our flight direction was 164, so about 30-40 degrees right. Now we can start turning right to our final landing course. Okay, it's right towards the sun. Here is the Kelloniemi base. It will be a little bit challenging with this kind of lightning conditions. And I will descend to 1000 feet. And our direction is about 160. Please don't care about those low RPM warnings, it's simulator technique. And then a little bit. There we go. This is the final approach direction. And then I will decouple the autopilot. Let's see what happens to the helicopter. Oh, it starts to climb, and yeah, in real life it doesn't make this kind of fast and surprising things. And with the VY speed still, and now making it go slower, and same time we'll start descending, and soon we should see the FATO between in this small window, and the speed should be at landing decision point, which is LDB 20 knots, and the altitude correction, the height will be the 200 feet, which is our landing decision point. So 2000 feet and 20 knots will be our LDB. There you go. We are still a little bit high, but I start descending here. Not the smoothest approach this time, but this is simulator and landing. And let's take care that the vertical speed won't go any more higher than 300 feet per minute to avoid the vortex ring state. So, like losing the helicopter control and the lift, sort of. And there we go, 20 feet above the surface. The direction wasn't perfect, it should have been like this, but in this simulator it's a little bit hard to do the final adjustments when you don't see as clearly very far. And then I can press the GTCH, which is the hover mode, and it should hover here. Yeah. And let's still press CRHT, which will hold the altitude or the height with the radio altimeter for us. So now we have GTCH and CRHT, and the helicopter should stay here like nailed, hovering, quite high hover in this case, but let's not care about it. Okay, here we are. We just make short sightseeing above the Kuopio area and made approach to this same FATO, and then what is left, we have to land to this platform, or well, actually we will have a real platform there later, but it's not yet there. But in real life there would be a platform. And then we will continue with the checklist. Decoupling. And in the real life, in the HEMS operations, we avoid flying or hovering sideways, because in the case of both engines shutdown situation, which is like very not what's that word in English? I think that maybe 0.1 pilots in the world will end up that kind of situation. The helicopter would be in bad position when touching the ground. Yeah, there we go. Approximately in the platform. And after landing checklist, let's scroll it down like that. Cyclic collective center locked. From the mast moment we can see the indicator that cyclic is centered and collective is locked. And then external lights, let's put them, well, the landing light off. We'll keep everything else on. And then autopilots, in real life you would just press twice this button in the cyclic, but I haven't merged any of the buttons in my controllers for this, so I will just press autopilot 2 and 1 and back up off. Then weather radar to standby. Now it's off and now it's standby. Yes. And then engine 1 and 2 main switches idle, guard off, second guard off, and idle, both engines idle. And every time this master list is like this highlighted, you can press the acknowledge button so that those new announcements and warnings are like acknowledged. And then test checklist. In real life we make it once per day or before every well, yeah, in the startup checklist here's this pre-flight test. In here pre-flight test is made before every IFR flight, and after landing test checklist is made once per day. And now I will go through that. So this stage 6 here, test checklist, engines on. We will jump to this checklist down here, AFCS trim test. It means that we will check these beep trims here, that they work. In my case I have the beep trim here in the cyclic, and there should be a little movement in the cyclic in a real helicopter to check the these trims. Okay, let's put the VMS and system page. Here you can see that trims are off. And then lamp, after AFCS trim test has been performed, lamp test, which is the same switch than was the pre-flight test. It's just put to
audio test
and to forward position, and we can see all the warning lights and audio test, and here all the lights and also all the lights here on, and we will check that everything is working, and these exit lights also should work, both in the back seat and in the front seat. Check. And in real life it doesn't stay here in this position, it is automatically centered when you release the switch. Okay, lamp test performed. Pre-flight test, MFD4 system page. So the pre-flight test is the one that we made before the takeoff. But let's make it again. MFD system page. This is the system page here, and then let's put the pre-flight test on and then back off, and pre-flight test is running there. And in the real life again, the system will make it self-check and check the pedals and the cyclic and the collective and all the other systems, and it would make the autopilots go on and off and stuff. Pre-flight test okay, so it's okay. Hydraulic test, we would put this hydraulic switch here to either to position 1 or 2, and then check from this VMS page that we lose the other side pressure. Number 2 is now with very low pressure, and we get the warning here on the caution, and then we would just check all the controls that they are working properly. Yes, and then we will switch. I have to be careful because I can hit the battery master switch. Yeah, and to system 2. Okay, I switched the battery master switch to engage mode, and it started to engage. Okay, yeah, now hydraulic system number 1 in the left side has lower pressure, and tail rotor shut-off valve is off, and we will make the same movements, pedals just slightly, and this collective just slightly. Okay, and back to center position, right, like that. And a fire protection test. Here we have fire protection switches 1 and 2. In here I will put it to most forward position, and then back. Okay, I can do it while I am watching here. We can see fire indicator here and a bottle 1 and 2 indicator, and strange kind of bell ringing. It's not the same kind of sound in real life, but we can see engine 1 fire, engine and then fire in this side, and back off, and then number 2
fire, engine 2
number
fire.
2 fire, bottle 1 and 2, and extinguisher light there, and fire, engine 2. So it's working properly. And back to off position, and then heating system check. We can see in here this washing machine kind of symbol in the center of the MFD4 display in upper corner, that we have bleed valve open, and now we can check these amperes here. It's 60 and 60, and when we push this up and make the bleed heating to 0, disappears this symbol here, and amperes should be lower, no, 60, 944. Let's put them back on and check what happens. About 900, and what was it? 940, yes. There is some difference in here, and then let's put it to maximum and check. Yes, anyway, we have some effect from this. Yeah, now it's 900 amperes. This display is a little bit different in the helicopter that I'm flying in Rovaniemi, so it's not so familiar. Yep. Anyway, heating system is checked, and then we jump back here and go to stage 7 overhead panel. Now we will switch off everything that was switched on earlier before the startup. Avionics switch 1 and 2. Here 1 and 2, and then standby battery and DC reception battery off. Standby off, DC reception off. Pitot heating 1 and 2. Pitot heating, by the way, means, who doesn't know, these pipes here, they measure the airspeed of the helicopter. So the speed that the helicopter is moving against the wind. Here's 2 of them, number 1 and number 2. And the heating is always kept on when we are flying. Pitot static heating off. And then we are here. Transfer pumps off. Transfer pumps are here. We don't need to transfer the fuel inside the different tanks anymore. And then external lights off. Well, I will keep them still. What happened? Okay. Yep. Where were we? External lights off. Heating, ventilation off. Let's switch this one to down position. It was there, and then the bleed heating to off position, like this, and then the ventilation off. Then overhead panel is set. MFD4 display VMS page. This is the VMS page. This was the navigation page, and this is VMS, vehicle monitoring system page. And after that, engine 1 and 2 main switches are switched off, and we need minimum 1 minute cooling between switching them from flight to idle and from idle to off. But now, when talking here all the time and making the checklist, I think we have used like 5 minutes to cool down. And rotor brake NR max 50. When this NR here is maximum 50, we can apply the rotor brake here, and it stops the blades like immediately in this simulator. In real life, a little bit slower. Rotor brake back off, and then test checklist, engines off once per day. Again, let's scroll down here and check the engines off. Checklist, flight control check. So now we can twist all the controls to the farmost situations, like that. It's checked, everything is working. And EFB, which means this electronic flight back device here, check that we have updated it, and in real life we would shut it down and check that we have enough power in it. Okay, so test checklist engines off is done. Flight report from MFD4 here we can see flight report number 10. The flight time was 17 minutes and the block time, which means the run-up time when the engines were on, it was 47 minutes. And we have some cumulative values here that we would type to our system and also to the aircraft, what's that, logbook. Yeah. And then flight report checked, battery master switch. Let's put it off like that, and still check that standby battery switch is off, and it is off here, otherwise it will consume the batteries. And EFB other devices off, and I would switch this off, but now I will leave it on. Okay. First of all, I'm sorry about my laggish English and lots of pausing between talking. This is, as I told, my native language, and I have to concentrate really carefully to speak and do this stuff same time. Okay, hey, this was the checklist from the beginning to the end, and I try to be as accurate with it as I see is like good in this stage and in this video. And if you wish, there in my checklist you can see also, please follow me on YouTube. So please press the subscribe button and like this video if you like it. You can also follow me on Blackout on Instagram with the same, almost the same nickname, M Sinerva. And I think I will someday make some content to Twitch with the same name. And in TikTok I have material in Finnish, but I think that there would be something for you to watch, even if it's in Finnish, if you wish. Good. I hope that you like this video, and I hope that it helps you to operate this helicopter in this simulator more like realistically, and you can make missions with it and do everything almost like in the real world. I really love this flight simulator, even if I fly at work with this exactly same helicopter and same livery and everything. I'm just amazed how awesome this simulator is, and what you can do in this. You can go everywhere in the world and just hang around, or then do these missions, HEMS missions, or hoist missions, or anything what you want with this awesome helicopter with the all working switches here and everything. This is just really cool. Okay, hey, see you next time, and I hope really that you liked. Bye.